Where's Lars at?
Okay, I'm right here.
Okay, I see you now.
Okay, we're live.
All right, I've got 5:30, so I guess we'll call this meeting to order. Will everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item up will be citizen communication. Albert, did anybody call in to communicate?
No.
All right, then I will close citizen communication. Next item up is the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of February 10th.
Mr. Chairman, if there aren't any other corrections, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Wolf motions, Consiglio seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, minutes passed unanimously. Next item up is the request to rezone from not designated district to single family residential district, 20.74 acres out of block 12, Minter subdivision, and out of block 140, Harlingen Land and Water Company subdivision, located on the west side of FM 507, north of Bartola Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The proposed rezone would be from the non-designated district to the single-family residential district to develop the area for the proposed Sundown subdivision for 24 single-family residential lots. The surrounding properties are zoned non-designated in all directions. Further southeast, the property is zoned planned development for the Valley International Airports. And further southwest, the property is zoned planned developments for the Tropical Winds Mobile Home Park. The surrounding land uses are agricultural use in all directions, and there's single family use to the north. Further southeast is, of course, the airport. Please note that a part of the proposed rezone and the proposed subdivision is within the airport overlay district, which does not permit single family use. The applicant is applying for a variance from the overlay district. Regardless of the airport overlay district, our intent as a city through the comprehensive plan is to rezone all non-designated zoning districts to the appropriate zoning district. The request is not consistent with the future land use plan designation of rural residential, which typically has 5-acre lots. However, it is generally consistent with the single family use in the area. The future land use of low density residential ranges from 1-acre lots to 0.125 acre lots. And the proposed land use would be consistent with the surrounding properties with about 0.75 lots. With the rezone approval, proposed subdivisions will be able to divide the property into lots that are smaller than 5-acre lots, requirements within the non-designated zone. We believe this property and the surrounding area should be zoned single-family residential. And for now, we'll just rezone this as a single family for this particular property. Staff mailed out 8 legal notices to the surrounding property owners, and we have not received any objections. Staff does recommend approval for the rezoning request. I'm here to take any questions, and the applicant, Dustin Moore, is also here if you have questions for them.
Are there any questions for staff?
I've got a question. What did the airport say about this?
The airport reviewed the variance application, but they did not necessarily review the zoning, because again, the intent of the comprehensive plan is just to get rid of all non-designated. So we have to zone non-designated into something, and the lowest zoning we have is single family.
Hey, Nick, do you have is there anything that you would think the airport would say yay or nay on this about?
No, it's certainly not in any type of runway area, any type of expansion or anything like that. Would staff confirm that?
It's what these green lines are. They're the basically noise contours. So the reason why buildings shouldn't be here is because of the noise. So you could still rezone these properties through the proper zone, but they simply won't be able to get building permits for a house in the front area or within these zones.
So the variance is
Right.
approved.
And yes, and as far as the runway, I believe this image is kind of hard to see, but it's a different direction other than this one.
Are there any other questions for staff?
I just want to make sure I want to understand those green lines again. Those represent what? There's a dark green line, there's 3 shades.
Noise.
Basically the noise. Like within this area, there should be no buildings for noise. And then within the further areas out, you can have commercial buildings, and then you can have obviously different kind of buildings. All of them, you can't have single family residential use or residential. But the further you get out.
So they're wanting to do a development, a single family home in an area that is currently under you can't even build there?
That's correct. Yeah, they would not be able to build a single family without a variance. But we still need to rezone these properties into something.
Okay, this has been recommended by staff.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
Yeah, I guess I'm confused why y'all are recommending approval for something that is gonna necessarily have to have a variance to use that zoning.
It's still possible to subdivide the property. If you have a non-designated zone, you had to have 5-acre lots. But the moment you rezone it to single family, then you can get smaller lots, and it gives them more opportunity, I guess, to design how they need to. So if you rezone it, then you'll just have thinner lots, and you can move and push setback way further back without having to have a 5-acre lot, basically.
I can add something. This is going before the zoning board of adjustments on March 17. So it is possible that the zoning board of adjustments may grant a variance. We're recommending the denial to the variance request. But that's why you have a board. The board hears from the applicant, and the board hears from the city, and the board makes a decision whether a variance is granted or not. So if they grant the variance, then they will be they will have the zoning for single family homes as to build the houses. But the applicant is aware that if the variance is denied, they will only be able to develop the north 1/3 of the property. So it's all so the zoning is really not an issue. It's the variance, because the zoning can go through, but if they don't get the variance, they will not be able to develop the south 2/3 of that property for single family.
So under that same logic, why would staff not just recommend that whole block be rezoned if you want to get everything from not designated to something?
It's something we need more time to look into, and right now we have an applicant who wants to subdivide, wants it almost immediately.
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys.
Yes,
The
please, thank you.
developer is applying today, so they want to have their subdivision soon. And as staff, we need more time to send out letters to the surrounding property owners. And it is something we've done in the past where CDA initiated rezoning, we, advise the property owners, but that does take time. We need to do a study, basically, figure out all of it. We believe it should all be single family, but again, we need to spend time to correctly figure out the zone.
Yeah. I'm not sure that having done it in the past is a compelling argument, because I can think of several things that we've done in the past that we probably wish we could redo.
But what they've done in the past is done the city originate, like they're going out and rezoning even without people asking for it. They're initiating their own rezoning request. That's what I was asking about, is why that just that track. I understand that there's one owner that owns that track, but if you're gonna do that, why not just do the whole block?
This is Dustin with Moreland Terrain. The reason he wasn't rezoning, because he owns those 3 blocks where it runs through.
Yeah.
He didn't want to rezone the rest, because right now he's trying to do the single family subdivision there. But on the back, he didn't want to zone that just yet, because I guess he didn't want to, shoehorn himself with, potential buyers. If it's residential and maybe someone wants to come in multifamily, I guess he could try to come in and zone it all, multifamily or commercial, and then step down for this subdivision. But he didn't want to zone everything, not knowing what his intentions were, what potential buyers might want for that back portion. And he's well aware that if it fails at the variance with zoning board of adjustments, that all he's going to get to the north 8 lots and the rest is off the table. He's aware of that, but like all good developers, he's going to die trying, I guess.
Yeah. And he already owns the property, right? This is not like something he just went out and purchased.
Correct. Yeah, he owns it. He's a farmer, so he's currently farming in it.
I got you.
If it doesn't happen, the land still has value to him as a farmer.
So if it gets zoned residential, can he farm on that residential area?
Yeah. You can continue.
I didn't really hear an answer. Is that a yes?
Yes, we can continue farming in single
Yeah, they said yes.
Okay.
He can farm, but he can't get the ag exemption. Is that correct?
No, the ag exemption is purely that's with the county and the appraisal district. That has nothing to do with the city and the zoning. So even if it's in the city limits and zoned and subdivided, as long as he's still actively farming it, the appraisal district will still give him that exemption over that portion.
Nice.
Is there any other questions for staff?
Something
All right, well,
that-
let's go ahead and open this up as a public hearing. Is there anybody that wants to speak on this item that has called in?
We did not get any.
No one's called in? All right, then I'll close the public hearing. Any other questions, or do I have a motion?
Yeah, I've got one other comment. Being that it's right on the end of the runway, or in line with that runway, and in light of the land acquisition that we're going through for the other runway shown there on the exhibit, I would have felt a whole lot more comfortable getting some sort of a statement. I mean, we have every department in the city that signs off on SQPs and things like that. I would have felt a whole lot better having something in writing from the airport saying that they were in support of it, or they were against it, or something along those lines. Just
if you would like this could be tabled so we could get something in writing. Because we're gonna get something in writing regarding the variance from the airport staff, but we don't have anything in writing regarding the rezoning. So if you like, this item could be tabled, and then for your next meeting, have something in writing regarding the rezoning.
I personally don't think we need to table it. I think that there's something negative that comes out. If the airport comes out and says that they don't support it, then maybe it can get crushed at the city commission level. I hate to just.
I want to draw back to something that Trey, you mentioned. The fact that we're just going to rezone a very small sliver and we have that whole area. And I'm sorry, I was a little late. Maybe that was shown on a slide, but what the future use map, is there any kind of consistency with this redistricting? Because it doesn't really seem to me to be a very logical thing.
It's not consistent with the future land use, but it's consistent with what's out there right now. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, that is correct, yes. And the lowest zoning we have is single family residential. That would be what we use for the future land. Kind of adjacent kind of zoning for the agricultural rural residential.
That answer your question, Wayne? Does anybody want to make a motion on this?
Another option is to recommend the rezoning of only the portion that is outside that overlay district as another option to consider in your recommendation.
I don't know, Wolf's screen looks like it's frozen to me, so I don't know if he's trying to communicate or not. Let's just wait a second and see if David can get back on.
Nothing's going to happen until March 17th. If we need to, we can resubmit the request for the full project. I'm talking if he wants to take it over. This is Dustin Morgan. Since basically nothing on the subdivision is going to move forward until that March 17th meeting for the variance, if it would be better for all of y'all, we can re-request the zoning and do the entire all three of those parcels and do the whole property all at once. And I can get with the owner and see if he'd be fine taking it all to single family, and then just have this at the next meeting again. So it would be withdrawing this request, we request to rezone the whole, I think it's like 50 acres or something like that.
Okay, well, I'm not hearing a motion either way, so I think we're gonna have to go that route anyway. So instead of this failing by lack of motion, it probably would be best just to remove this item.
Do we need a vote to table it or just remove it?
We can an email from.
I think if the owner's representative can just speak for the owner and say he's removing it, I don't necessarily know if we need a vote to do that.
Well, you don't. And if you don't want to consider it, or if you want to pull it from the agenda for consideration, then that's all you need to do. Because if you table it, then to take it back from the table, you'd have to take it back from the table as is. And it sounds like that probably something different is being contemplated here.
That makes sense.
No, then yeah, we'll redraw or take this back and we'll resubmit it with the whole property in there.
Okay. Well, then that being said, that item's been removed from the agenda. The next item up will be Mr. Olivo's report.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Just want to report on some of the items that got considered at the last P&Z Commission meeting, previous P&Z Commission meeting. The food truck ordinance that got approved on final reading at the City Commission meeting. The special use permit to allow the bar lounge on Ed Carey Drive, or to amend that ordinance to allow an expansion of that bar, that got approved on final reading. The special use permit for the proposed storage building at 5218 Garrett Road, that got approved on first ordinance reading. Final reading will be scheduled for March the 3rd. And the special use permit to allow the proposed bar lounge on Harrison Avenue, West Harrison Avenue, that got approved on first reading. Final reading will be scheduled for March 3rd. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mr. Olivo. Wolf, just in case you weren't on, item 2 got removed.
Okay.
Considered at a later date.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize. My it dropped off.
No problem. Mr. Cervantes.
Yes, we do have a meeting on March. The next meeting is scheduled for March 10. We do have a meeting. It's at least one subdivision, the Circle K subdivision, or maybe a few other subdivisions. No public hearings for your next meeting.
Great. Anybody have any comments or questions for staff? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Wolf motions.
I'll second.
Martinez? Martinez seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.